Miss Rosie was finally back in the water where she belongs. Because it was a long journey and there was a lot of unknowns, Mum and I didn't sail back to Wales with Dad. But come along on the journey with us as we make the first leg from Falmouth to Newlyn, encountering ships, dolphins, waves, and rounding the treacherous Lizard Point.
Well, it's about 3:45 and we're setting off shortly. The sun's just starting to come up. It's actually not sunrise for another hour or so, but starting this morning from Mylor Yacht Club in Falmouth round to Newlyn, and then from there leg 2 is Newlyn to round Land's End to St Ives, and then up to Padstow, Lundy, Dale or Milford Haven, depending on where we head, and then Fishguard, and then back up to Pwllheli. It's a hell of a long way to sail. I won't pretend I'm not a little bit anxious about it. The boat's not been in the water for a long time, but we've done everything that we can and we think that she's ready, so come along with us, it's going to be great fun. This is it, we're underway, we're off.
The first challenge was navigating the fairway down the River Fal in the dark. The Fal estuary is the largest natural harbour in Europe and the 3rd largest in the world.
There's Falmouth. And we're just making our way out through the fairway, and then off to the Manacles, and then off around Lizard Point. Say hello to the crew then. There's Mike.
Good morning, campers.
There's Tim. And there's me. And we're off. I don't know if you can see me, but we're off to Newlyn, day 1. And everything's going nicely. We've got about an hour and a half to go to get to the Manacles, and then from there to Lizard Point. And then, yeah, everything's going nice. We've got 8 or 9 knots of wind, and we're making 3.6 knots, but we're motoring at the minute. We're just about to put the main up because we've just come out the fairway. On the chart, we are here, past the Manacles. We went wide of the Manacles marker. We're pinched about as tight as we can, so we're actually going to carry on down here and then put a tack in to come across the Lizard. Going along at about 4.5 knots, 4 knots, something like that, about 7 knots of wind, and we're still on the ebb tide, and it's yeah, it's going nicely. There you go. That's what it looks like out the window. is, he's here. There's two of them. They're dolphins, not porpoises as well. So there's Lizard Point in the distance, and we're going to put a tack in a minute to get us on a better heading for the Lizard. Miss Rosie is sailing brilliantly. We've got a full genoa and one reef in the main. We've got 11 knots, 12 knots of wind, and yeah, going fantastic. Believe it or not, we're still going round Lizard Point.
Rounding Lizard Point was a big achievement. It is the most southerly point of mainland Britain.
A pod of dolphins that's been with us for the last couple of hours, really. We think what we reckon there's about 6 of them.
I'd say 10 maybe.
Yeah, 6 or 10. We've got little bits, but of course it's always the way when you point your camera at them. Oh, that was one then, missed it. When you point your camera, you miss them. It sounded like Barry Perrins. Oh, I missed it again. Yeah. Oh, there you go. You can actually see them coming up from under the surface of the water. It's lovely. Got the autopilot doing its thing. Out here in the cockpit on my own, feeling quite sick. It's a bit roly-poly, but it's all good. The engine's working nicely. Old donkey thumping away. And you're just about very slowly going around Lizard Point.
Oh, blimey, the skipper's come up after 3 hours of being sick.
I know, yeah. It's a good job I've got Mike and Tim here. I don't know if you hear that. Mike just said the skipper's just come up after 3 hours of being sick. And you're not kidding. I was not well. Well, we're not far away now. We're about an hour away from Newlyn. 6.2 knots.
Finally, Miss Rosie and her crew arrived safely in Newlyn fishing port.
So here we are, we're in Newlyn, end of leg 1. There's Mike and Tim posing, as usual. There's the little entrance to Newlyn Harbour, if anybody's interested. Traditional fishing boat. So we're on the pontoon for the night. There he is. And we'll sort out why it's having trouble engaging forward gear. So there's a problem on that gearbox in there just now. When put it into neutral and it wouldn't go back into first. But we'll figure that out. I've got spare parts of the gearbox on board anyway. Oh God, smacked my head on the anyway. Yeah, I'm fine. So we've only just arrived in Padstow. We've had some beans and eggs. Tim's servicing the winches, which are gargantuan old bronze winches, but that one wasn't locking while we were out. So what's that bit, Tim?
Kind of curious, guys. This is the top of the winch here.
Yeah.
This, goes through there. That's what your winch handle goes on, and that cogwheel will engage with the drum. Basically turns the drum. It's the first and simplest part. And then you've got this piece here, which basically also locks into the cogwheel in the drum and stops it turning the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that was just basically gunged up and stuck, so the drum was turning in both directions.
Sure.
And yeah, obviously that's no longer a functioning winch.
Yeah, brilliant. So Tim's doing that, and then I'm going to sort out the gear selector on the gearbox, because when we came into harbour, the gear selector wasn't going into gear properly, so I'm going to do that. Resolving gearbox problems. This here is the forward and reverse gearbox selector. The problem that we had today was we were getting a leak of oil around this casing, but when we put it into neutral and put it back into forward gear, it wouldn't engage. The lever would move, but it wouldn't engage forward gear, and here's why. When I took it off, I discovered that I thought, oh, this rubber seal isn't seated correctly, it's all wobbling around. And then I discovered there's already a rubber seal on it. So what I had mistakenly done is I'd taken the rubber seal from this one, and we'd got 2 layers of rubber seals. So 2 things were happening. One, it wasn't making a correct seal around the gearbox, allowing oil to just seep from here. But B, it wasn't applying the correct pressure with here against the gears themselves. So what I'm going to do is put it back together properly with the right number of seals, and then maybe it won't leak, and maybe it'll go into gear. Also had to adjust the cable where it goes into the mount a little bit, but reverse gear engages and forward gear engages. Marvellous.
As always, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to support us to continue making these videos, you can go to our Patreon page and help us out that